it's Marvolo and welcome back to my channel. I know last year I gave you at the beginning of January some book recommendations and I wanted to do that again. I don't want to give as many book recommendations, not because I didn't read as many books in 2016, but I just didn't read as many recommendable books, and also I don't want a big editing nightmare. Yeah, I am going to tell you all about 5 different books I read this year, and I have 4 of them with me. One of them I loaned out to my cousin, but yeah, let's get this going. My first recommendation that I would give you all to read in 2017, based on my 2016 reading list, would be The White Boy Shuffle. The White Boy Shuffle is a young adult novel by Paul Beatty. When I first started reading this, the writing seemed really pretentious to me. Like, I read a lot of John Green books, and some people say he sounds pretentious. John Green is not pretentious at all in comparison to this book. Oh my god. The writing is a little difficult to get used to. But it's worth it. Even if you are not a fan of that pretentious writing style or whatever, you need to give this book a chance. It's very culturally relevant, and I really think everyone should read it, even if you're not usually a fan of young adult literature. It kind of falls on that same wavelength of Catcher in the Rye for me, although I think this is a lot better, more modern, more relevant to modern day. It's just, I mean, not that Catcher in the Rye is some, like, ancient piece of literature, but this is better. And I like Catcher in the Rye quite a bit. The main character is a young black boy named Gunnar, and it is like a coming-of-age tale, but it's got a lot of, I don't know, it deals with a lot of social injustice, social inequality, what it's like growing up in, like the ghettos. Yeah. It's funny, it's intelligent, and it'll make you think. It really is, I think, a moving piece of literature. I don't want to give anything away, really, as to the plot of this novel, because it's really just that good. You have to experience it for yourself. But this is my top recommendation. I really think that if you're going to read just one book this year, read this book. It is so damn good. I thought I'd give you guys a quote from this book because it just has some really beautiful, poetic moments, so. Like the good Reverend King, I too have a dream, but when I wake up, I forget it and remember I'm running late for work. So good! Give this book a shot, for sure. Next up, The Soul of an Octopus by Cy Montgomery. This is a non-fiction book, clearly about octopuses. I love reading non-fiction, and I wanted to include one in this list, and it was really easy for me to make a pick out of what I read last year non-fiction-wise. This was absolutely the best. And this book, Cy Montgomery documents her experiences working with various octopuses. I believe it was 3 or 4 primarily that she worked with, as well as doing some deep-sea dives and whatnot. Before I read this book, I was one of many people that believed it was octopi, not octopuses. Yeah, that's how it is, so you've been educated. Or you already know and you're like, you were dumb. Yeah, I was. In this book, she discusses the different emotional bonds formed between humans and octopuses, sort of what is going on a scientific level, but it doesn't get super sciencey. This is definitely one of those books that if you like heavy scientific rich detail, it might not be the best for you, and I do tend to like those books, but this is an easy read and a really, really good one. I loved reading about the different struggles to keep octopuses in captivity and how they escape in various ways. Just everything about octopuses is really fascinating. If you like learning about animals, particularly sea creatures, I'd recommend this book. Although, I'll let you know, I haven't been able to bring myself to eat any cephalopods since then. So no squid, no octopus, so if you're big on eating those sorts of foods, maybe don't increase your empathy for octopuses. So just a warning, you know. A Clockwork Orange. You may have seen the movie, you may have heard of this, maybe you haven't, but it's a fiction novel by Anthony Burgess. I don't know. I probably should learn to look up pronunciation before making videos, but you know what? Someday I'll learn. That day it's not today. This is really different from any novel I've ever read, and I'm sure I've said that about other things, but this one, for a very specific reason, the language used in this book is just kind of bizarre. It's hard to get used to reading it, but once you get into the swing of things, it does, the linguistic patterns just start making sense in your brain. It's kind of fun and interesting how that works. But if you are easily triggered by crime, violence, rape, I don't know, those unpleasant things, am I forgetting one? Probably. Anyway, if you're triggered by those sorts of things, don't read this book. It has a lot of really, that that sort of stuff. I mean, it's, yeah, how else do I put it? It's fucked up. It has a lot of really violent moments, but the language used makes it a little bit weird because you don't always know exactly what's going on until you start filling in the blanks of what the words mean. You understand about that tall chuck on the rot, Dim? It was the music, see? I get all bezoomy when any Vec interferes with a pizza singing, and it might be like that then. Yeah, there are words like that all throughout. They're not real words. I looked it up, I'm like, are they speaking another language? No, it's just the way this book is. I don't know, it was an interesting artistic choice for the author, and I guess I kind of appreciated it. It was an interesting experience. It's a weird book to read just because of the language thing. This book is a dystopian novel of sorts. At night, these youth, they roam the streets, and they, at night, youth roam the streets and they pretty much go out committing crime. They'll vandalize, they'll steal shit, they'll get drunk or do drugs or whatever. I don't know exactly what they were on. And rape people. I don't know. They just do really crazy stuff. Kind of like, you know, the Purge status, but with only the youth doing it. Youth Purge. Despite the subject matter of this book, it poses a lot of really deep and meaningful questions. I don't think this book is for everyone, but I do think that the kind of people that will be able to handle it will appreciate the point the story is trying to make as well. One question that it poses is someone that has done so many terrible acts, someone that's viewed as evil, is it possible for them to have redemption? Is it possible for them to become a good person, to be, I don't know, cleansed of their sins, and to have, you know, the possibility of a positive future for someone that's committed such negative and terrible acts? And for someone to commit those terrible acts to be able to change, would that take away a fundamental part of who they are because someone's so evil? Like if someone went and screwed with Hitler's brain and made it so that he was like a fun-loving, happy, huggy, doesn't want to commit genocide on anyone type person, does that mean he's still Hitler? And is that okay to do to a person? Yeah, like I said, this book poses a lot of interesting questions. It's dark, and the diction does, as I've said repeatedly, make it a little bit difficult to read. Or a lot of it, depending on your reading capabilities, I guess. But I think this is an important and interesting novel, and if you think you can handle it, I would definitely recommend it. I'm going to have to, like, put a picture up of this book on the screen somewhere right now, probably right here. This book is called The Knife of Never Letting Go, and it's the book I've currently loaned to my cousin, so that's why I do not have a copy of it with me. The Knife of Never Letting Go is the first novel in the Chaos Walking trilogy, and it's the only novel I've read so far in that trilogy. It's a young adult dystopian series by Patrick Ness. I'm really hoping to go and pick up the sequels to this book this year, although I don't know if they're both out. New series, yo, I don't know the whole lot about it. So, dystopian novels are something that's almost being overdone now. Now, I don't really think people will ever get totally sick of dystopians, but so many of them just feel too reminiscent of the same concept, you know? It all seems like it's the Hunger Games twisted slightly. It just seems like the Hunger Games has become the basis for dystopian novels, and it's nice to finally break away and find something that's more original. And, you know, I love the Hunger Games, I love Divergent, I love The Maze Runner, but this series, it was something I needed from dystopian novels, to be quite honest. I just needed something new, and this was very new. Haven't really read any young adult novel quite like this. It's really interesting. Okay, so let's actually talk about it now. This novel is set in a world where everyone can hear each other's thoughts. Animals, humans, yeah, no discrimination there. The society that the novel starts in, takes place in, there are no women, only men. All the women have died off from disease or from whatever. Yeah. Anyway, that's how the novel starts off. Before reading this book, I'd often wondered what it would be like to hear my dog's thoughts. Now I don't really want to, because I never thought about how often a dog might just be thinking about pooping. This novel really opened my eyes to that. Poo, Todd, poo, poo, poo. That's like half of the lines of the main character's dog. It's just always wanting to take a shit. It's kind of nice comic relief, though. I don't want to spoil too much of this novel, but just to sum things up a little bit, it takes place in this small town. It's called Prenticetown. All men, no women, and our main character is just about to, like, come of age. But there's a secret, and once the secret comes out, the main character Todd and his dog Manchi have to go on the run. I don't want to spoil anything, but it was really, really fucking good, and I'm really excited to see where it goes from here. Hopefully the series can live up to the standard the first book in it set. I generally like the second book in a series best, so we'll see. So yeah, for lovers of young adult series, young adult novels, dystopian novels, definitely recommend that one. Lastly, I've got Ubik by Philip K. Dick. Philip K. Dick has written so many novels. He's a great sci-fi author, but this was actually the first book I had ever read by him. My grandpa loaned it to me, and I was super impressed by how good this was. Since then, I've read The Man in the High Castle, and that was also very good, though I preferred Ubik, and that's why I'm reviewing it. Also because The Man in the High Castle already is getting some like media attention from the Amazon series, I believe that's what it is. So I figured I'd shine a light on a different piece of Philip K. Dick work. Dick work. Ubik is a pretty unique novel. Although I think I've said that about all these books, I guess I just picked the most unique books of the year. So this takes place in the 90s as imagined in the 60s, because that's when he wrote it. So that's always interesting to read about our past, but it's written as if it's the future, and just comparing, you know, all the little things. It's like, oh, this is what you think 1992 is gonna be like, man? Wow. You know, it's just funny the way some things are so advanced, and then some things are so technologically behind where we actually were because people just had no idea where things were gonna go. Yeah, anyway, a huge component of this novel, though, is psychic ability and being able to counter them. It becomes a business, sort of like a government security agency thing, you know, you're trying to block out people from being able to read your mind or use other psychic abilities, so people have to have technology and psychic abilities to sort of counter that. Also, people's loved ones are kept alive in a sort of like half-life, so it's like being in an extended coma, so they're not quite dead, and you can talk to them over the phone, but you can't like do things with them, and they stay in like a funeral home type thing, but for living dead people, but not zombies. I don't know how to explain it exactly, but yeah, hopefully you got some sort of an idea. Basically, you're storing your half-dead loved ones. It's like a cryogenic sleep, keeping them from completely dying, but not allowing them to have a whole lot of function. That's the setup of this novel, the world it takes place in. Things get weird, and like I said, I don't want to spoil things when I'm recommending books. So this novel was a really interesting journey, one of my favorite pieces of standalone sci-fi for sure. One little thing that this novel left me thinking about is how annoying it would be if every appliance, everything in your home was trying to charge you money. You want to open the fridge? Quarter. You want to do your laundry? Quarter. You want to open your front door? Quarter. You want to come into your house? Quarter. Shower? Quarter. Yeah. Fuck that shit. But I could see the world ending up like that. It just would really fucking suck. Anyway, that's it. I just wanted to recommend those 5 novels to you all. I had got a couple requests to incorporate literature into my channel more, and I really, really appreciate that you all enjoy this as well, because literature is something I'm really passionate about. So going forward, I am going to try to once a month do a book review. Right now I'm reading Pygmy by Chuck Palahniuk, and that has been an interesting journey. I think that will be my next book to review next month, so stay tuned and look forward to that. Until then, thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe if you're not already so you can stay updated for the next time I make a video. I love you guys, and I'll see you again soon.